Someone who's not going to be putting up any more plate appearances is Nolan McLean anymore, because we have recently, in the past year, found out that he is now going to be a full-time reliever. And I think that is ultimate, or full-time pitcher. I think he's going to be a reliever. I think he's going to be nasty out of the bullpen. I don't know what you guys think about him, and I'll ask you guys here in a second, but it's a plus fastball, a double plus slider. I wrote his report. It's an above average cutter. The command is ultimately what is the question mark, but he is still a starter in this organization. And I think maybe this time next year, we're talking about him as like the eighth inning reliever, because I do think that stuff sort of plays up with the below average command. And I'll start with you, Matt. What do you think about Nolan McLean, and like what the range of outcomes for him might be?
So I think your Freudian slip there on reliever is not too far off. I think he certainly has. So here's the thing with McLean. Like, if you wanted to commit to making him a starter, it's going to take a little bit longer for him to climb through the minor leagues. But if you wanted to move him to the bullpen, I almost think he could be a late season call up and help you out in that role, because the fastball and the curveball are fastball's plus, and the slider is the monster pitch, the double plus. Um, the double plus offering that just that he can manipulate and use it as a put away pitch. Obviously, we know about the athleticism. If you didn't know, McLean was a quarterback in college, so like he has all the skills. In addition to being a two-way player, he's legit. Is a guy just focusing on pitching for the first time now. So it's going to be one of those things that there's going to be a little bit of linear growth to it, but it's going to take off, and he's already started to kind of show promise. He misses bats, but it's a little bit more of a product as a starter. I do think, as you mentioned with the command, but if you turn him into a reliever, he can move pretty quick.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately where he ends up. I think that this is a guy who, as a 45, it kind of means that we think he's going to be a good high leverage offering. Maybe not like the most elite reliever by any means, but like for a team like the Mets, who has Edwin Diaz, who is one of the best closers in baseball when he's on, although he does have extended stretches of not being on. He's very inconsistent in that. Most relievers are, but Nolan McLean can kind of be a guy who maybe gets some holes and some saves. What do you think about the fantasy aspect of him, Drew?
I do think that you kind of hit the nail on the head with my view of McLean, because I think he is a reliever. And it's, again, ironic that he's going to be kind of in the same bullpen theoretically with a guy like Edwin Diaz, who is your ninth inning absolute. But that said, I do think that there's a good combination, the fastball slider, two average to plus pitches there. I do think that McLean could be that kind of eighth inning, very valuable guy with 60 innings pitched at the end of the season and a more positive than not strikeout to walk ratio, especially for that eighth inning. Because I think if you want Diaz for the ninth, McLean might have to kind of come in and mop up duty in some regards. But I think there's fantasy value for that, especially in your deeper leagues, such as the one we're all currently drafting together. McLean's a guy I expect to be taken. Honestly, probably within the top half of that draft. So that's like 400 prospects. So yeah, if you're in fantasy league, look out for McLean within like your top 400 prospects roster.